The first morning in my uncle's cabin in the Blue Ridge was supposed to be all about coffee, quiet, and maybe a deer or two wandering past. Instead, I got Linda, a woman in a neon pink windbreaker, storming up my gravel driveway with a yapping terrier named Tinkerbell under one arm and a clipboard clutched like a weapon. Her eyes burned with the kind of fury you'd expect from someone whose life's mission had just been insulted. My crime? A hummingbird feeder I hadn't even hung yet. She jabbed a manicured finger at a tree by my porch and shrieked, "You're luring invasive species." I thought she was joking. 10 minutes later, 3 cop cars rolled up, lights flashing, boxing in my truck like I was running a meth lab. That's when I pulled out the deed not just to the cabin, but to the entire Pine Ridge. All 200 acres, including the land Linda's fancy deck was illegally squatting on. 3 days earlier, I'd left the city grind behind mails, traffic, the works for this cabin my uncle left me when he passed last year. It was a sanctuary tucked deep in the mountains, where the road was more weeds than gravel, and the stars at night felt close enough to touch. That first evening, I sat on the porch, coffee in hand, letting the silence wash over me. It was pure, almost holy. The next morning, I was fiddling with the feeder when I heard boots crunching up the path. I figured it was a neighbor with a pie or a handshake. Nope. Linda marched into VYEW. No smile, no hello, just that clipboard raised like a judge's gavel. "You're in violation of Pine Crest HOA Code 4B, she snapped. I blinked, still holding a bag of sugar. "HOA? What HOA? I asked, polite as could be, what she was talking about. She launched into a speech about environmental integrity guidelines, claiming my feeder would attract hummingbirds, which would bring predators, which would get this threatened Tinkerbell. She whispered to the dog, "Don't worry, sweetie, you're safe." I laughed. Couldn't help it. That's when her face went from red to volcanic. She whipped out her phone and dialed 911, reporting an environmental hazard and a hostile non-compliant structure. She even knew my address, which creeped me out. I stood there, feeder in hand, thinking she was bluffing. Half an hour later, the cops proved me wrong. The lead officer, a guy with a no-nonsense mustache, asked for ID and proof I owned the place. I stayed calm, grabbed the lockbox from my truck, and handed over the deed. He read it once, then again, his eyebrows climbing higher. "Sir," he said, "this says you own the whole ridge." I nodded. Linda, arms crossed, Tinkerbell glaring from her elbow, went pale. The officer asked if I knew about houses built on my land's edge. I said I planned to survey the boundaries soon. Linda stammered, accused me of forging the deed, but another cop cut her off. "Ma'am, this is registered. County confirms it." Her mouth flapped like a fish out of water. The cops left, and I sat on the porch, but the peace was gone. Linda wasn't just annoying, she was dangerous. It wasn't about birds or dogs. It was about control. That night, I walked the property and found trouble. Fence posts shifted, survey markers dug up, and a sign nailed to a tree. Pine Crest HOA property, no trespassing. On some I saw land. She wasn't just pushy, she was staging a land grab. I drove to town the next day, bought trail cameras, private property signs, and a drone. If Linda wanted a fight, I'd meet her with EVY Denke. Back at the cabin, I saw her shadow slip past my window. She didn't approach, just taped a flyer to a tree and left. It read, "HOA notice, unauthorized structure, fines pending." Her name was scrawled at the bottom with a fake seal. The battle for Pine Ridge had begun. For 2 days, she vanished. No flyers, no barking, nothing. It was too quiet, like the calm before a storm. I kept my guard up. On the third morning, I spotted a huddle on Linda's patio's even neighbors, her gesturing like a general rallying troops. I grabbed my uncle's old binoculars and watched. She pointed at my cabin, waved a paper like it was scripture. One woman gasped. A guy in a fishing hat checked his watch, bored. Linda was spinning a tale, and I was the VY lane. Later, I found more flyers pinned to trees. Improper waste management, unregulated wildlife feeding, illegal excavation. Pure fiction, but crafted to build a case. She wasn't targeting mesh, was rallying her neighbors. My trail cams caught her at midnight, sneaking onto my land with a flashlight, taping flyers, checking for cameras. A hidden second cam got her in full color, trespassing like she owned the place. I backed up the footage and wrote a cease and desist letter column. Legal, citing boundaries and consequences. I hand-delivered it to her door. She answered in a robe, sunglasses, and a towel turban, looking like a fugitive from reality. I handed her the letter, nodded, and walked off. She screamed after me, accusing me of intimidation, yelling that my feeder was still out of compliance. Hours later, the same cop from before rolled up. I showed him the footage, Linda creeping, taping, scheming. He chuckled, said it was harassment, maybe criminal trespass, and promised to talk to her. I gave him a USB of the evidenke and watched him drive to her house. Then came shouting. I crept up the trail and saw Linda, red-faced, flailing at the officer while neighbors whispered. One pointed at my cabin, shaking his head. Her grip was slipping. The next morning, a plywood sign was nailed to my gate, Community Watch Zone. Report suspicious mountain men. Childish, but desperate. I upgraded my cams with motion alerts, set a dummy toolbox, and pink survey flags as bait, and aimed a lens at a worn path behind her house. That night, my phone buzzed. Linda, in a camo hoodie with a dangling tag, yanked my flags, tossed them, and snapped photos. Gotcha. Then I hit the county office and found gold. Linda's deck, 20 feet of it was on saw-my-saw land. Her patio, where she held her HOA rallies, was mine. I marked the boundary with orange ribbon and a sign. Pending survey, re-VYEW. Entry at risk. Linda lost it, storming down, accusing me of vandalism. I stayed calm, pointed out her midnight trespassing. Another cop came, took my statement, and confirmed. If her deck was over the line, she'd have to remove it. He knew her name. She was a repeat offender. The drama peaked at a county hearing. My attorney, Ethan, laid out the evidenke. Deeds, maps, drone footage, Linda's trespassing videos. Linda, in a beige suit and oversized sunglasses, waved poster boards, one with my cabin in fake flames, another calling my new lookout tower a spy hub. The room murmured. Ethan whispered, "Let her dig." She ranted about community spirit until the officer asked for legal documents. She offered her fake HOA charter. He shut her down. Not legal. Her face burned. Someone snorted. The county favored my claim. Outside, Linda stormed past, her followers trailing like scolded kids. She got a notice: remove the deck or negotiate. Next morning, she knocked, exhausted, handing me an agreement to end her HOA nonsense and stay off my land. I pointed to her HOA headquarters sign. She yanked it down, silent, and retreated. Peace returned almost. I hosted a barbecue, and neighbors laughed, ate, played music. Linda's blinds stayed shut. But one night, a trail cam caught her in black, smashing my tower's camera and ladder. I filed a complaint with the broken gear. Deputies questioned her. She denied it, accused me of hacking her drone. She got fined a no-contact order and a warning. Neighbors turned on her, sharing stories of her bullying. One brought banana bread, another fixed my ladder. I threw another barbecue, and the ridge felt alive, free. Then a broker called. Linda was selling her house quietly. I bought it through an LLC, no fanfare. She left without a word, tires crunching on frost. I gutted her house, stripped her tacky decor, and turned it into Pine Loggia free retreat for veterans and hikers. Neighbors donated lumber, pies, even a recliner. The mountain exhaled. One evening, clearing a trail, I found a rusted stake, an old boundary marker, buried like Linda's schemes. From my tower, I watched the sunset, the lodge glowing below. The stars burned bright. This was home not just bought or fought for, but earned. What would you have done, fought Linda head-on, or played the long game like I did? Was buying her house justice or overkill? Could this mountain ever truly heal from her chaos? Drop your thoughts below, hit like if you felt the tension, and subscribe for more stories where truth wins out.